one of those things, like any movie, you're just waiting for this character to change, and the fact that she doesn't, the fact that she reaches that moment and has this life realization and does not make the change. It's similar to Up in the Air. I mean, it's a movie about someone who comes to a conclusion but doesn't act on it, and I think that is actually truer to life, and that got me excited. Yeah, right here.
Okay, I like that you said that's what you got from it, because that's what I was thinking as well, and I wanted to ask you and Diablo as well, that it was strange. It wasn't a traditional character arc for Mavis as one would expect from watching a lot of movies, in that at the beginning of the movie, she's kind of a bitch, and at the end of the movie, she's still kind of a bitch.
She's still kind of a bitch, yeah.
I was wondering if you could explain how you saw her trajectory as a character and how you came about forming it.
It was actually really, I'm really glad that you said that, because it was very important to me that she not have a traditional redemption arc like we constantly see in films, because I have this theory that, like, assholes don't actually change. In the movies, they always do, and I find that kind of unrealistic. So I thought to myself, how about let's have somebody on the precipice of learning something about herself, and then she really doesn't, because we've all seen that play out over and over again with people we know. So that was really important to me, and in fact, I didn't think I would be able to get the script made in that incarnation, but luckily enough, Jason came on as a director and is, you know, such a wonderful, steady hand and so respected that everybody said, all right, if Jason wants to make a movie about a bitch, let's do it.
That echoed through Hollywood, those exact words.
Pretty much. Oh, we got a question over here.
Hi, this is for Diablo. I actually went to your school. Don't worry. Wait, several years after.
Oh, of course, after.
But yeah. and I definitely don't want to, you know, make the horrible assumption that the character is based on you. But yeah, were you at all inspired by, you know, going to your own sort of high school reunion or going back or anything like that? No.
No, I feel like an object of ridicule when I go back to those things. Like, makes fun of you, but despite the fact that I've been very fortunate to have, you know, some success, Mavis is on a different level where she is just she is, I think it's safe to say, pretty condescending, and I like going home. You know, I feel comfortable there, and for her, I think it's a darker reunion. She has a lot of ugly feelings, and she feels like she's been slighted. She has kind of a massive entitlement complex, and I hope I'm not too much like her, although occasionally I catch a glimpse and then I'm scared.
I think what's going to happen, what made you decide on picking the music box for the theater? For tonight? Yeah.
We pored over lists of things.
Yeah.
And then finally my hand came to rest.
It's a big argument. I mean, hours of Diablo and I just screaming at each other at the top of our lungs.
No, someone locally said this was the place to do it.
They're right.
Hey, I have a question for all of you guys, actually. When you were thinking about the character of Mavis, did you have like a vision in mind of what you wanted her to look like, or did Charlize Theron just kind of kick a look into your head that you're like, yep, that's exactly what we're looking for?
I don't think about actors specifically when I write something, but I had always envisioned her as this very like Minnesotan, Nordic, tall blonde, but it was kind of nebulous. I didn't have anybody in mind. But I have to agree, when you cast Charlize, I was thrilled because you're like, oh my God, Charlize Theron's in the movie. At the same time, I thought, oh my God, she's so beautiful, like how will she ever be an object of pity for anybody that watches this movie? So it's shocking for me when I watch it and I see how truly physically and emotionally haggard she is able to become at times, and it's amazing. She's a really amazing actor, and I feel the things that I'm supposed to feel about her when I watch it. So, good job.
Yeah, when I read the script, I pictured Charlize. I had met Charlize, and I knew I wanted to work with her, and I knew that she was funny in that sense that, you know, I had seen her explore in other movies. And I knew she had that one quality that I just brought up about Diablo, which is that she's really, really courageous as an actor. And it's really ballsy to go up.
I thought you were going to say, like, super hot and fat.
She's quality
courageous is not what I want to have in common with Charlize.
Look, there's something I want in every woman that I work with, and they have to be hot as fuck. Ergo. No, she's a ballsy actress, and I knew that she would do this without flinching. And I think a lot of other actors in this part, and I think Patton did the same thing. They shy away from what they're portraying, and they almost are, whether it's very subtle, but they're often winking to the audience and letting you know, I'm not, by the way, I'm not like the character on screen, just so you know. You can feel that happening, and my favorite performance is when the actor is doing none of the above. They're saying, oh no, this is fucking me. And I knew that's something that Patton would do, and I knew that's something Charlize would do. And that was it for me.
Thank you.
No, I'm not being funny. What was the process again? That I came in, we were doing like readings and stuff?
Yeah, basically, I mean, what happened was I read the script, and look, it's interesting. The script for Juno and the script for Young Adult both came into my life at moments when I was about to do another movie. I was literally about to do Up in the Air when the script for Juno came into my life, and I thought, Jesus, I need to direct this or I'll regret it for the rest of my life. And I had written a script called Labor Day, which is my next movie, and I stopped that to direct Young Adult. And while I was making that decision, I decided to have a table read at my house where I invited a few actors that I knew to come and just read it. And I thought, I just want to hear what the script sounds like. I want to bring it to life. And I thought, I knew Patton a little, and I thought, I think he would have a really good voice for this. I think this would be great. And then we read it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to cast Patton. That's what's going to happen. And then I did a second table read, and Charlize came over, and the two of them read together, and their chemistry was off the charts. And it was actually a very important moment, because it was the moment where I realized this was your guys' love story. And I never really thought of it that way until I was sitting at the table. These are the things that are... And no, but I watched the two of you, and you had this wonderful chemistry from the moment you meet in that bar, and this kind of shared darkness and shared brokenness and sense of humor about anything and being non-judgmental. And Colette Wolfe, who plays Sandra, the sister, same thing, came to both table reads.
Awesome.
How many of you know who she is? Have seen her before? Yeah, she was in Hot Tub Time Machine. She was in Observe and Report. Fantastic comedic actress.
I was her boss in Observe and Report.
Oh, that's right. Great movie, Observe and Report. It got missed. It is a work of genius. You have to see Observe and Report. But she came to the table read, and she just knocked it out of the park, and that was it.
That scene with her, so that's my favorite scene in the movie. That scene is unbelievable. She's so great. Oh.
Hey, I have a question for Diablo. I loved the movie. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I noticed a few things, like the older woman, like Charlize listening to the teenagers, listening to how they speak, and the textual relationship. And then that seems, echoes of Juno, and then there's this kind of structure to it that's kind of like United States of Terror, where you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, like something terrible is going to happen.
Yeah, we got to do that every week.
Yeah, I was wondering how much of that was intentional. Like, were you trying to comment on it, or were you just kind of like, oh, I have to use I know this works? Or...
Yeah, I guess in a sense it definitely was commentary, because around the time, and Jason and I did so many Q&As for Juno and traveled around, toured with it, and people would always ask me if I would sit around and eavesdrop on teenagers to get the dialogue, and I always thought that was kind of a funny, weird question. And then I thought, as I was writing this, I thought to myself, like, what if this character actually does that? And she's experiencing writer's block, and she goes to Staples and listens to a couple of teenagers making a stupid pun about textual chemistry, and she goes home and plugs it into her book. So I definitely drew that from life. Perhaps there was like a little bit of bitterness in that particular, that was maybe working something out there. And then having, written about a character with mental illness for years, that I have to say, like, I didn't think about Tara too much when I was doing this, but at the same time, I do feel like I've maybe not mastered, but have honed the skill of writing about women having nervous breakdowns. So that did come in handy.